Hey, hi. A long day at work doesn't mean I'm not going to do this. It just means I'm going to do it looking like this. And that's your problem. Um, Listen, do you guys love when I have just the worst attitude? And I'm a big old dick. That's what you like? You like that? Most people, for some reason, seem to not mind it. I actually hate when I'm like that. But yet, I just keep doing it. Second. Okay. Sorry. Maybe? Maybe? No? No? The phone's like, bitch. It says, bitch. Listen, I'm just gonna need you to quit doing that. Okay. I'm allowed to drink wine right now. I bought this $6 bottle of wine. $6 bottle of wine. If you think I'm not gonna drink it, you're fucking crazy. Don't look at my zit. Right there. Don't. I'm warning you. There's better things to look at. The edge of my bed, for instance. Look at that. I don't know, guys. I got weird energy, and that's fine. That's fine. We can deal with weird, right? We always do. It's me we're talking about, so. Okay. Alright. Alright. All the cards want to fall down? Okay. Alright. If there's some on the ground, I might take them. Oh, you lucky son of a bitch. Got one card. Okay. That's our main card for right now. This is about to be the most chaotic reading. We're just going to deal with it. Today was a weird day, but it went well. It was long, but it was fine. My teammate, my coworker, my other cleaner, always has such a great attitude, so it makes it a lot better. It sucks when it's like been a really long day and I'm like trying to rush to make sure that everybody's satisfied, making sure that the quality is still great on our cleans, and then like my coworkers are like, oh, I just want to go home, I hate this so much. Like, I handle it, but that does make it harder. It's nice that she has such a great attitude. Sweet little thing. Sweet little thing. She does a good job. I got 3 that came face down. I'm gonna put them like this. I got these that came face up. I'm gonna put them like this. I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna do with this. It's a me. Jamio. No, I got this. No, this wasn't it. Okay, listen. I got wine. I thought that this was it, but it wasn't. I was thinking that it was, no, because I just bought this bottle of wine. I had gotten a bottle of wine for Thanksgiving. For Thanksgiving festivities, and it was this bottle of wine. Apathic. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, because I'm feeling some type of way. So what do I want to get? It was cheap, but also an apothecary is like a healer, right? They make tinctures. So I was like, oh, this is like a healing tincture. I'm going to get it. Apothic. And then I read the back of it. Like, I was already planning on getting it, but then I like still had it in my head like, maybe I'll see. I'll read the back and then see if it's all right or if I want to get something else. But as soon as I read the back of it, it says, a feast of juicy, jammy flavor. I didn't even need to read anything else. That's, hello. Obviously, this is the bottle for me. This is not the wine I'm drinking right now. However, I don't drink wine, like, ever. No, apparently I saved the bottle, though, because I loved it. But maybe staring at it has also made me want to get this other bottle of wine. And maybe I just want to drink wine now. That's fine. It's fine for me to do that. I'm allowed to do that. I'm a grown woman. I've earned it. It's better than when I was drinking whiskey, probably. I don't know. When I was drinking whiskey, granted, I was like severely depressed and just trying to be even more suppressed. But I was also a cleaner at that time, and I kept up on my cleaning. I was still getting 5-star reviews all throughout the week, and I was fucking wasted. So I can't say that was a good thing. However, it was quite entertaining because I would just get drunk. It was better at night. Obviously, it's not great to get drunk to go to work. I wouldn't recommend it. My dad died an alcoholic. He died drunk driving. So like we always kind of stayed away from alcohol. And when I was going through that severe depression, I was like, okay, this is going to be the thing. Took my dad out. It's going to take me out. And instead, it made me feel really, really silly. It like cut out all of the really deep emotions that I was struggling with that were leading into the depression. So instead of being depressed, I ended up just feeling really silly. I felt fucking wasted. I felt drunk. Whiskey makes me silly. It makes me a little, not slutty. It doesn't really make me slutty. I don't have a issue of sleeping with people, regardless, but it does make me frisky. It does make me a little touchy, feely, a little flirty. It does make me a little bit slutty. It doesn't. I've never done anything on whiskey that, like, I wouldn't have done sober at that exact time. Aside from when people have drugged me. That changes things a little bit, but I digress. Getting drugged isn't fun. Not a fan. But the whiskey makes me a little stupid. Just makes me goofy. Just makes me a little sloppy. Does make me sloppy, but like in a way that I think is funny. I already have a lisp to begin with, like a little bit of one. It comes and goes. It's from brain damage, so like depends on what my brain's doing at the time, if it's bad or not. I just get like a dumb tongue. I think that's probably literally medically what it's called, but my tongue just goes dumb sometimes, and like my jaw goes dumb. My jaw like clenches and my tongue like doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I swear I'm really good with my mouth, but it doesn't talk right sometimes. But whiskey makes it. I mean, any alcohol really makes it more. Weed too, though. If I'm high, I also like. Well, and when I'm high, I tend to like talk in a deeper voice. Tend to like have this real cool sound where I just talk like this the whole time, which I think is kind of cool. I also do that when I'm tired, but I haven't smoked in a really long time. I haven't smoked any pot since the beginning of July, the first week of July, and that's crazy because I think since I started smoking, the longest I've gone without it is maybe like 2.5 months for work. So that I could piss clean. But this time I got off of it, and then I started smoking again as soon as I got whatever job. I didn't give a fuck. But this time I actually quit smoking for the job. Like, it wasn't required. I wasn't having a piss test. I just didn't want to be smoking while I was doing this specific job when I was a caregiver this past summer. Because my client was older and disabled, mentally, a little developmentally really disabled, and just a bit, and was on hospice. So it was like and I was taking care of him and the house and the dog by myself for 2 months while his sister was in another country. So it was like really serious. So I decided to take it seriously and to not be smoking pot. But then after that point, I was like, okay, well, let's just see how long we can go like this. How long I can be sober. I really anticipated that I was gonna start smoking again on my birthday last month, and I didn't. And so now I'm just seeing how long I can go. Maybe I'll go a whole year, because July isn't like that far away. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, so it's more than half a year. However, I've been amazed at how long I've already gone. But I am getting to the point where it's like, oh, well, since I'm not smoking pot, I can be drinking wine. Because wine makes me feel a little euphoric, kind of like pot. It's kind of like pot to me. My roommate drinks THC drinks that they have at the gas station. And I've considered it. I asked him if he would piss clean with them, and he said probably not. And I was like, okay. Because that's where I'm at right now. It's like, I don't care. It's not like I have anything necessarily that I'm pissing for, except fun, just for fun. But I think I'm just gonna stay off of it. The pot. I'm gonna stay off the pot for a while. But you might just see me drinking wine. Quit judging me. You don't get to judge me. You can. I wouldn't recommend it. There's better ways to spend your time. Also, because, like, you don't know me. You don't know me. You think you know me because you watch videos of me. Because we've talked a couple times. Because you've known me most of my life. But I've always kept you at arm's length. Some people know me. I want people to know me. I try to be as genuine as possible, but I find that because I keep everybody kind of at arm's length, people that have known me for 15 to 20 years know me basically as much as people who just met me. They know me a little better. Like my friend Ian's known me for 15 years, and he's watched me essentially be the same, is how he said. He's never watched me change, which is crazy. Because my own family has watched me change drastically. Partners that I've had, that I've been sleeping with and living with, have seen me change drastically. So it really just depends on where you are. Because if you're super close to me, you've seen the changes. If you're close to me but not that close, you probably haven't necessarily seen the changes. But I think that that's good too, because then it also, like, because I am consistent, but I also am changing. But it's not like I'm just, like, coming up with some new identity every fucking however long. I know I'm genuinely experiencing things, and they're maturing me and changing me, and I'm accepting that. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. Okay. I got something weird going on here. I haven't even been paying attention, so I've just been... 3. That wasn't what I wanted. That's fine. Guys, I literally just I've had 3 sips of wine. I'm not even drunk. I'm not, but I'm wondering if I could be. Not right now, but, like, in time. I swear this is all the wine I've drank. This is just my personality. The fact that I feel like I have to sit here and make excuses is a little weird. Okay. Let's keep this one face down since these are face down. I told you it's just been a chaotic day. So, like, this is me unwinding. What unwinding looks like is literally, like, every little experience, every little thought, every little weird thing that went away today was, like, winding me up. And I handled it, but, like, now I'm unwinding, and that's why, like, I have this weird fucking energy. I'm extremely sensitive to my experiences, subconscious and consciously. Subconsciously and consciously. Also, I've got, like, a lot on my mind. Just in general, my boss, like, obviously I've already talked in videos how I feel some type of way lately about my boss, but I've just been doing the thing. I've just been doing whatever, but he said to me today, like, okay, so is everything okay, like, on a personal level? Because I don't want you super distracted from work. I want your head in the game. But, like, all I'm thinking is, like, how am I gonna, because what I really just want to say to him is, like, I told you that I like putting 200% into my work. And that's true. But I also told you that I only do that when I respect my boss. because he's noticing that I'm not giving 200%. He's wondering why. He's assuming it must be that I'm distracted with my personal life. And to a degree, I mean, yeah, because this job isn't serving me and I've got other stuff going on. So in my life, I would like to have things going on. I have things going on, but like I have these other things that I'm trying to work on, right? And like, yeah, I'm a bit distracted. Also, like I'm not gonna give 200% to this job anymore. If you don't respect the work that I do, and the only reason you're nice to me is because you realize that you need me, I'm gonna treat you just like every fucking man that's ever been in that position with me. To be honest, like, obviously, right now, I'm not bringing much to the table, right? But that's not true. Okay, I get that if you had to come home after a long day of work to this right now, but I'm really good with my mouth, even despite the weird lisp and zit. It's all I can think about right now. I haven't even messed with it today, but it is real red, and I just wanna, but it's because it's a scab. It's because I've been fucking with it. Listen, I hope you weren't even thinking about that, but I was. Also, look at my face. Look what I look like. My God. I wouldn't blame you for coming home to this and then being like, sometimes I wish I were single. You know? Like, that's why, like, I have learned over time how to be a cuck. Because I get it. I'm aware. I have a lot to offer. I really do. I'm pretty top notch with all the things I have to offer. I really am. Like, I got some skills. I do. But I'm also aware that, like, I'm not fucking every woman. Like, every woman has something. I'm not fucking every woman. That would be insane. But I'm not every woman. Every woman has different things to bring to the table. So, like, I get the appeal. If you're interested in women, I'm not like that. I can objectify women. But I'm not interested in women in that way. So it's like, if you are interested in women that way, like, I don't really get it. So, like, I can see why you would, like, want all these different women if they all bring something different to the table. Like, I get the idea of just wanting to have multiple women. Don't matter if they're the same one cloned. Like, I get it. I was raised by men, so, like, I was raised with that. My dad died when I was born, but then I had a stepdad from the time I was 2, and he was, like, a macho man, super macho, and he raised us. He was, like, I mean, both of my parents were very involved in different ways. But the house, like, he was the head of the household, and the house really revolved around his standards for things. And my mom was the religious one. My dad wasn't. It's not that my stepdad wasn't religious, but, like, it was weird because, like, my mom was the Christian at first, and then my stepdad became a Christian. But then, like, the way a Christian family is supposed to work is that the wife submits to the husband and the husband is the head of the household. So, like, that dynamic came on. And I also had 2 older brothers. So, like, there was more men than women in the house. And, you know, my brothers would have all their friends over and stuff like that. And my brothers were my friends. I didn't even like my friends. My friends were usually, like, girls my mom forced me to hang out with because she wanted me to have my own girlfriends, not just my brother's friends. But I always felt like a dude. So, like, and was very confused about my gender. So, like, I didn't like hanging out with most of these girls. And the girls I did want to hang out with were, like, whores. At a very young age, were already, like, interested in different things and stuff like that. And my mom didn't like that either. So I just, like, didn't really like my friends. My best friend I liked, but she was, like, very quiet when I was in grade school. She was very quiet and kind of just let me be however I was. But then, like, as we got older, we kind of grew apart because she really just, like, she kind of made fun of me a lot. Even though she was quiet and more reserved, and I was, like, extremely annoying. I was very obnoxious. As we got older, she kind of just got to that point where she was, like, not afraid to the kind of, you're still friends, but that's how it goes, right? Like, it just became obvious that she didn't actually really like me. And I isolated a lot. I always was really good at making friends. I was friendly with everybody. Everybody liked me to some degree because I was a class clown. But dudes never liked me because I was fat and weird. And like kind of gothic. I like dressed weird. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't like myself even, right? So like I didn't attract boys. Never really had a problem attracting grown-ass men when I was a child. So at least I had that going for me. But I just struggled with female relationships. And so like I grew up like kind of in my brother's world. And that's where I liked to be. And I like would do anything to try to like just bro out. Like I just wanted to be a bro. I just wanted to be one of the boys. I think it's because I had daddy issues from my dad being dead and never getting to know him really. And then like watching my stepdad come in and like really bond with my brothers because of the macho masculinity thing. And so they all became like men and I wasn't a part of that. And I remember like, so I was just left with my mom and my mom didn't like me because my mom's a misogynist too. My mom doesn't even like herself. And like, she's always really jealous of me because I would get attention from grown-ass men, which was not what I wanted, ever, to be clear. But then, so now I'm, like, in this weird competition with my mom, and, like, it's just weird. So I remember always just being like, damn, I wish I was a dude. Like, my brothers just had it so much better. I didn't like being a girl. Plus, girls are, like, twice as rapeable. They're incapable of logic, according to my stepdad. That's a joke of mine, is that my stepdad used to always tell me that women are dumb and lazy. And I believed him because I didn't know any better and I wasn't willing to try to. Which I think goes over most people's heads because it's kind of a smart joke, but it's also a smart ass joke about how dumb and lazy women are. Myself, it's funny for me to make jokes like that because I'm a woman. I don't know if y'all know this. I'm gonna tell you a little secret just between the two of us. Yeah, not a dude, actually. I'm a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude. We're all dudes. Hey. But I'm also a often proud owner of a pretty good, I call it a tight puss. I thought about saying it in my head and then I said it out loud, and I'm glad I did. It's true. It's true. For as many weird things as I've done with it, I've also not done a lot with it. Keep that shit. Everything I'm going to say right now is wildly inappropriate, and I don't want to have to apologize. But yeah, I mean, I'm 35, but I have had a lot of partners, but I've also only had them like once or twice. Because I was just trying to learn things and I was never trying to commit. And so I kept myself as good as possible, but I would say that, yeah, like, my tits are like 40. The puss is like 25. The rest of me is about 30. The brain's 35, but I somehow still act 12. So, I don't know, balance that all out, and I'm like 28 to most people. think it's fair. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the girl that I clean with is 18, and she's half Mexican, but she mostly speaks Spanish. And she had said to me one day, like, you are, how'd she put it? She's like, my mom is 36 years. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I'm your mom's age. Fucking weird. It's fucking weird working with a grown-ass adult. She has a 2-year-old baby. I just met her baby today. Her little kid. So cute. Like, she has this toddler. And I could be that baby's grandmother. That's insane. That's insane. But also, I mean, that's part of, like, white culture tends to not have kids until later. It's common, I think, in a lot of Mexican culture to have kids younger, to have younger grandmothers. Still, though, it definitely made me feel old. It's fine. I don't have a problem aging. I kind of do sometimes. I just don't. I look at myself less. I just don't, like, personalize my appearance anymore that way. I mean, I do. I get hot sometimes. I'm hot sometimes. Fuck you. I still do the thing. My mom never did that. My mom, like, by the time that she was in her 30s, started dressing like she was, like, very matronly. She started dressing very matronly, in part because she wanted to be modest. I suppose the Christianity that way had gotten a hold of her. Also, she was always really insecure about her body, but it was funny because, like, she always just dressed so much older than she is. And, like, for my 35th birthday, I went out to the comedy club because I got a free ticket, and I dressed like a whore. I dressed like a whore. I didn't get laid. I wasn't trying to get laid. I could have if I wanted to. I wasn't trying to. That's what I like about it. I like being able to dress super slutty and not have to act super slutty. Like, I like the balance. For, like, catch me like this and I would go to town. That's what I'm thinking is, like, man, if I had my ideal partner here right now, he had to come home to this shit, he'd get it. He'd get it so good. Because look at me. I can't, this is awful. This is awful. I'm so sorry that this is what you have to look like. My eyes are all, like, red. I look like shit. But I can still suck a dick. Like a madman. Like a professional. The thing is that, like, I am insane. That's all. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys come here for a reading? And I didn't know what we were doing here. Okay, look what we have going on here. This is why I haven't done anything with this yet, because this is wild. There is a lot going on here. All right, let's break it down. Okay, now I'm gonna have to drink some coffee. Hold on. Oh yeah. Literally, as I mention it, that's crazy. I just get a text from the dude who I met on my birthday. A comedian who showed up to the club that I was at and got a guest spot just because he just showed up. And they were like, get up there, buddy. I can't come out tonight, mister. Oh, at work tomorrow. He's been asking me out for, like, a month now, since my birthday. And I haven't gone out yet. Now it's been over a month. And I can't go out tonight. Could I? I could. But do I want to? I really do like going out. I went out for my birthday. Last year, this time, no, not even this time last year, 2 years ago, was when I first got to Austin and was going out all the time. I went to the clubs because I'm a comedian. I was performing half the time. I was also networking and getting to know all of these people. I already had known a lot of these people and was, like, hanging out with them and shit. I would literally go to the club, like, 3, 4 nights a week. And it was a lot because I'm a bit introverted. Everybody would make fun of that because I'm like far more introverted than 98% of these people. But like I have a good time when I'm out. I can be social. I'm ambiverted that way too, you know. I can be out there. But I loved it. I loved being out, and I always had a great time. And hanging out with all the comedians. I worked extremely hard to network the way that I did and to know the people that I do, and to get like the name for myself that I had out here. It's not that I don't still have that name, but like it's gotten to that point where people are like, yeah, I know who that is, but I don't know if I've ever even seen her. Like, she never comes out. I've like gone on dates with people and then like one date and then that's it. Because they expect sex. And then they're like, okay, well, if you're not going to put out on this date, I know you're going to at some point. And largely in part because they see my comedy, which is generally wholly adult. But that's because I think it's funny. I think it's funny. And I had one of my friends who I'd like known for years. And when I got here, he had asked me out. And he was like, I think it's so weird that like you get laid less than any of us. Like you have less sex than any of us do when like you should be having the most sex out of all of us, especially given like your personality, like who you are, what it is that you do. I make porn and shit by myself. But I was like, yeah, but that's like, do you think that everything that like I would be acting like a 15-year-old dude if I was constantly getting laid like a 35-year-old woman? I'd probably grow the fuck up. Lucky for all y'all, I'm celibate most of the time. Every once in a while I decide that I don't want to be, and then I have sex again, and then I'm like, oh yeah, no, I think I just want to stay celibate. It's not that I'm not having good sex. It's fine. It's fine. It's just I like it just fine. I quite enjoy sex. I really do. But like at the same time, like I just have these specifications. At this point, like I've already had sex. I'm 35 years old. I've already done the things. Like it doesn't do it for me anymore. It does, but I don't even care. Even if you can make me come, like that's not like I don't care. I don't care about coming. I care about intimacy. I want intimacy. I want to genuinely connect with somebody. I want to make love. I want to make actual love. I want to be able to like kiss and lick all over somebody and have them like love it. And they do. They always do. But like it's not the same. I don't know. I know what I'm looking for. That's all that matters. It does remind me of like I dated this cute little boy. He was young. He was like 12 years younger than me. I'm 35, okay? I have no right being with somebody that young. At the same time, like, it was obviously just for sex, right? He called me his hoe, and I was like, I'm a little too old to be your hoe, bud. However, like, you're my hoe. What the fuck are you talking about? But he was just, I thought he was older when I first met him. He's a fucking drug dealer, right? Okay, he sells pot, but like I thought he was older. He's like this cute little Iranian boy, just like a kind of chubby, but like this little brown boy with like super curly hair, big brown eyes. Love that shit. I do. So I just like I immediately was already attracted to him, and then I remember being with him and like him being like, why are you so lickety? That was his way. He speaks like he has a really heavy accent because he's literally from Iran. And so it's funny because like he doesn't always say things the same way I would say things. But like that made me laugh, especially in his accent, which I cannot impersonate. He's like, why are you so lickety? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like a little puppy dog. But I literally am. I literally am. If you're going to be with me, anticipate me calling myself a puppy and crawling around on the floor like an animal and licking your balls with or without the peanut butter. I don't give a fuck. You think I give a fuck? I'll give you a fuck. I'll give you a good fuck. I don't know what my deal is. this is supposed to be a reading. 35 minutes. 35 minutes. Okay, I'm 35. It's time to grow up now. All right, let's start. Our main card is Head, Rationality. Okay, this is the only oracle that we have that came out. So this is the card that everything is going to be revolving around. Rationality. I don't feel like I'm in the right energy to be speaking on rationality right now, but you're going to get what rationality I actually have to give. This is me proving that women can be rational even when we're absolutely fucking unhinged. All right. You're just going to have to deal with whatever the fuck. I don't know what to tell you. There's cards that came face down. I don't really know what to do with those as of yet. They're calling to me right now. But I'm going to hold off on them. I'm going to hold off on you, buds. I'm going to get to you. The first cards that came out are cards that in this deck, I've gotten these before. In the Adventure Time deck, these cards creep me out. They don't give me good vibes. I've already seen this episode. I have seen this episode where Abraham Lincoln is the president of Mars. And he's been the president for 200 years. It's a great episode. I don't remember it, but I remember that part. And this is Mars. This is all his weird little pilgrim people that are like his minions. And they're sitting here worshiping him, playing this weird... I mean, there's smoke coming out of it, so it almost looks like it's like a pipe. But it also looks like some type of musical instrument. I don't know for sure. But it's Abraham Lincoln. That much I do know. So it's the Judgment, and the Three of Wands. And this card is weird just because you can't really see it in... You can kind of see that his eyebrows are like this. But he's got the smile on his face, so he just looks like a bad guy. He just looks... And he's winking. And this card, for some reason, in this deck... is like Freemasonry. Like when I see this, I think of Freemasonry. I think of a Freemason, but like not the kind that I like. Now listen, I'm all about Freemasonry for the like, there's things about the fundamental aspects of it that I genuinely believe in and very much care for. However, what it's developed into, which was largely in part what it was set up to evolve into, which is what I don't like. I like the idea of it. I don't like it in action too often. And that's what this is. It's like it in action over such a course of time that like it's like this illusion. It's like this person that has this arrogance like, oh, I know something you don't know and I'm in control. I'm part of a club that you're not a part of. You don't go here. Like that. It's Mean Girls energy. It literally reminds me of my friend who's a Freemason. No offense, bud. But you're a little sketch. You are. You told me that you couldn't be with me because I was fat. And now you're like weirdly in love with me because I'm not fat. And I just feel like you don't actually even care about me. And like you would set me up for murder. Just don't. I can't. It's unfortunate because really the fundamental like aspects of Freemasonry are something that you should be able to innately trust as an occultist. And you can't anymore. 'Cause this. Not a fan. Abraham fucking Lincoln. Okay. And like even when I've read this card before, I've also, and I don't even know if it was in a spread with this Three of Wands, but like I read this as illusion. Now, as some type of disillusionment, right? An illusion. Three of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck is kind of like a symbol of opportunity. And Judgment is kind of a symbol of... what's the right word? Kind of humility, but more like... Why do I always forget this word? Probably because I'm not terribly good at it. Surrender. gives me this feeling of surrender. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at surrender. I know that this is like a moral thing, that like in Christianity, surrender, especially as a woman, is like a very important quality. I can submit, but surrender, I don't think you're likely to find me surrendering. Now, that's something that like the universe has tried to teach me before, because it's like surrender is important. You surrender yourself to the universe, and you trust the universe to do these things for you, you know, and like you trust that that's the point, and that's, you know, that is your task, is to surrender, and you just let the universe do these things. Like, I've surrendered in that way. It not as much surrender as relent. I guess it's a surrender. But it's not like when you wave the white flag, you're like, okay, I give up. Like, I've never given up. I've given in when it's been validated that that was the right thing to do, as far as I'm concerned. But like, I've never just like given up. That's still me like involving myself. You know? Like, I don't stop. I'm not gonna stop. Okay, in the midst of this with rationality in the middle, like that's what I'm getting. Like, it's like this, like, I'm, you know, and in this card, like, you have this skull in the palm, and it is the left hand. The receiving hand. And so it's like this idea of like surrender. But I'm not going to fully, because of the rationality. Because like I said, like I am going to rationalize those things. I'm not just going to be like, okay, yeah, I give up. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that. Fucking shoot me. I don't give a literal flying fuck. I'm not gonna compromise my actual integrity for some shit I don't actually believe in. You know, I can take judgment even if it's like seemingly unjust, or even if it's like coming from somebody I don't trust. That I can accept. What I can't accept is what I know to be manipulation. I'm not doing it. It's a hard one because like I recently had this thought idea that popped into my head of like being able to get much further if I would be willing to play the game that way. Where it's like, listen, you're already playing chess. You already know how to play. We're talking about leveling up to a degree where you play the player. You play the person. Like, you already know the game that they're playing even better than they know it. They're not even aware that you know that they're playing a game, let alone that you know how to play it. So play it and play it better than them. And just like create this illusion, and you will become more successful because of it. But like, that seems like a compromise of my integrity. I struggle with it. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing out of this. On this side, we're going to be talking about what I'm willing to put out. We're talking about the right hand. We're talking about what I am comfortable with as myself, relate to it as need be. We're talking about what seems to make sense as opposed to what doesn't seem to make sense. Not that it doesn't make sense, but it's like, this is the opposition, the seeming opposition. As we come into the cards that are face down, it's going to come into how to balance these things out so that there isn't a division between them, but rather a balance. Ultimately, all I want is balance. So let's break this down. Okay, I'm going to put this card, but here, okay. So what I already know, what I already believe, what I'm already willing to accept. Judgment. Judgment is being clarified by the Wheel of Fortune and supported by the Chariot. reasonable enough. Judgment, the wheel of fortune. It's being clarified by this idea that I'm aware of karma. I'm aware that consequences of actions, that there's a mathematics to it. I've even learned this math over time. It's sacred geometry, more or less. But when you see, the thing about sacred geometry is that, like, you can have the format given to you, taught to you, and then you can lay it over anything, and you can be like, oh, wow, yeah, this actually fits that form. You get the, what's it called? That spiral. That perfect spiral. I can't think of it. 369. You probably know what I'm talking about. But it's this, like the spiral of a conch shell, right? Like this perfect spiral that you can put over things, and you can see how things fall into a certain alignment every single time using that. You can also use a pentagram, not the upside down pentagram. That would have a different connotation. But a regular pentagram, like in Da Vinci's The Man, you know, where he has his arms outstretched and he has his legs outstretched and then he has his head and he's in the shape of a star. Those two put together, the Fibonacci sequence is what I'm thinking of. You overlay those things on top of anything and you will find a mathematics. You will find a system of balance. You will find the way that things kind of are all interwoven, that things kind of are already preset into some sort of functioning structure. It takes skill and time to learn how to actually do that, but essentially that's what we're talking about. That's like the wheel of fortune. That's like being able to understand that those things are already, everything's kind of preset that way, and being able to see it. But beyond that, I've also learned like that's just the chessboard and the pieces. That's the chessboard and the pieces. But I am the one choosing where these pieces go. Now I only have so many choices to make because of the mathematics and because of the sacred geometry of things. However, I, in my own skill set, am able to either play well and even potentially better than an opponent, or not. I know chess on a metaphysical level and a spiritual level fairly well. Don't quite know it in the third dimension. I'm going to be honest about that. I would love to learn. If you would be willing to teach me, I would be willing to suck you off in exchange. It's all I'm thinking about. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. So, I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry people who are offended by me saying those things. Can you tell how sorry I am? Listen, I don't actually care to apologize for who I am. I like doing those things, so you can suck it. So it's clarified by the Wheel of Fortune, but it's supported by the Chariot, which, like I'm saying, is this function of knowing myself and being able to make these movements based on my own conception, my own experience, my own understanding of these things. Judgment. Similarly to how I was talking about being raised in a misogynistic home where, like, I'm being taught that women are dumb and lazy, and I'm able to make my own judgment about that, where because I can recognize that my own innate capacity is to be dumb and lazy, I'm choosing to be something greater than that. I'm not always the best at it, but I do choose that. And that's what was so confusing to me about my gender growing up, was because it was like, okay, so women aren't logical, but if I can be given to logic, then doesn't that make me a man? Am I a man yet? Can I be a man yet? I just want to be valid. I just want to feel valid. That I was very confused because I in my subconscious was telling myself that my validity depended on my masculinity, but my personal identity very much enjoys being a feminine and being able to act feminine and be treated like a feminine. I'm like a power bottom, okay? I like being treated like a lady. I like dressing like a lady. I like looking like a lady. I like acting like a lady. I like acting like a dude too. In balance. But like I've never like been a dyke as much as I was called one growing up. I was called one growing up and because I was a tomboy. But like I've always also liked girly things and I've liked being portrayed as a woman. I like wearing dresses and heels and makeup and you know, sexing it up and being objectified as a woman. I like being objectified as a woman. As a man, I like to objectify myself. I think that's where my cuckoldness comes from, is my masculine wanting to objectify itself. But my masculine is very macho and does not want to be emasculated or objectified itself, with only if you can identify that object as very masculine. I got a macho masculine inside of me, but I also got like such a ultra feminine. Okay, it's a trans woman, but I digress. Okay, so that's where we have judgment right now. Over here, and not connected, it's connected to judgment through this one card here, but this card here is still face down. So we have the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse, and it's something that I'm aware. I'm going to say me, and this is just going to have to resonate with you personally. It's kind of like that last reading or the reading before that I had where I was talking about how like I kind of go out before everyone else, in part because I'm so slow. But consider it like that, where like I'm laying this path out for those that would resonate with it. And even if it is not resonating with you right now, consider it in of yourself so that you can see that maybe this is what lies just before you. It's not where you're at right now, but it could be coming, sort of deal. So I have the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse, and I recognize that, but I'm not understanding the connection between that and judgment. And what I'm saying what I'm hearing as I'm saying that is that I can recognize when I'm not receiving my divine abundance from the universe. It's not that hard for me, but because I can recognize a divine abundance, but we're talking about something tangible. We're talking about a tangible wealth. Obviously, if I had that tangible wealth, it'd be fairly easy for me to at least see it. I don't need anybody else to know how much fucking money I have or how I'm living. But as far as I'm concerned, I would see those things, and it's in the reverse because I'm not quite seeing those things yet. But this card that's face down still is kind of the why. It's what's attached to this judgment and what's leading to this Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles isn't fully definitive of like, I'm never going to receive this abundance. It's definitive right now being in the reverse as I'm not receiving those things right now. This card on the face down, and as we move into the other cards that are face down, is why I'm not seeing it right now and what it's going to take in order for me to actually turn these things around. But we're not going to get to that point to the end. So where we sit right now in our own conscious perspective of ourselves is that there's a judgment there's karma. We're still dealing with karma. We're still dealing with karma, and we're being asked to work those things out. It's not like supposed to be this thing of like so super damning, causing us to beat ourselves up about it, like, oh, I'm such a bad person because of all of this karma I have. It's not like that. It's like even you were probably mostly unaware of what you were even doing when you gained most of this karma, but that doesn't mean that it isn't yours to work through. You still have to work through it. You still have to do the thing, and eventually it's going to bring you to this Ace of Pentacles, and it will bring you to the Ace of Pentacles, but right now it's in the reverse. And if you were to focus so much on the Ace of Pentacles, you would probably become a bit amiss because we're not seeing this card flipped over yet that's connecting it. And so we're seeing well, why is it like this? We're just questioning it. Why is it like this? We don't know. We don't know yet. We haven't been there yet. Okay. So when we get to the point where all we can focus on is this Ace of Pentacles that we can almost see, we can almost visualize, but it's not quite ours yet. It's not something that we can quite claim yet. And we're wondering why. And we're wondering what to do with that. And maybe we're even starting to beat ourselves up. Don't beat yourself up. Let that go. But it's okay to question why. Job, when he had gone through everything that God had put him through, at one point in time asked, why me, God? Am I not doing things right? Am I not following you the right way? And God said, don't take this personal. This is just me working out my power. This is me being able to have certain things aligned a certain way so that I can give you what you truly deserve, which is so much more than what you've ever had. Please just trust me. Job was like, okay. But when you're going through the story, you might read that initially and be like, well, here he is questioning God. Why isn't that considered a sin? Well, he wasn't questioning God. He was just questioning why any of this. Why is it like this? He wasn't being like, I don't get it, God. He wasn't being embittered. He was genuinely asking why. So get yourself into that position where you're not embittered. You're not taking it personal. You're not well, I'm supposed to deserve this and I'm not getting it. So what the fuck? That's not the right energy, and that energy isn't going to end up getting you anywhere. At least it's going to get you straight into judgment and the wheel of fortune turning against your favor. If you want to reach the Ace of Pentacles, if you want to reach it in the upright, don't be a dick. Be patient. What we're being told right now is to become introspective, is to look in and say, okay, so what has it looked like on the receiving end as to why things are the way that they are, right? We're going from the right hand to the left hand so that we can understand these things. You're not supposed to let one hand know what the other hand is doing, but there comes a point where you really need to be able to hold your own hand. So that you're not relying on external resources for your validation, and so that you are able to truly know yourself so that you can really put all of yourself to best use. Okay? This is part of the rationality. This is all coming through rationality. We have the right, we have the left. Rationality itself is actually held within the left, so it's good to take the time to acknowledge the way that things are, and to really see them for what they are, and to see your skills and all of these things, and also to see what it is that you're striving towards. But it's important then to go within and to receive rationality. We're not forcing it. We're not having to even identify ourselves by it. It's just something that we're receiving in order to balance all of these things out. Okay? So, the Three of Wands. There's an illusion. There's an intentional illusion that was cast. There's potentially an enemy that has portrayed themselves as a friend. Now, whether that's an actual person or a partner or a work situation or just a mindset, some type of theology, some type of concept that you've been buying into, believing it to be the mark of an opportunity, when really it's got other things in mind and it's trying to draw you away from yourself. It's trying to use you so that it can gain power. You have to be privy to these things. You have to be aware of these things. Now, that's clarified by the Eight of Swords in the reverse. The Eight of Swords in the upright is okay, I've been blinded, I've been binded, and now I'm surrounded by these swords, and I'm having to trust my intuition. I don't know what to do. It is this concept of being tied down somehow. But in the reverse, I'm getting this idea where it's just reflecting on the importance of being aware that even if something portrays itself as great and good and trying to be your friend or your lover or your means to success, that doesn't mean you necessarily have to trust it. What you should be trusting is your intuition. And not giving your power to the illusion in order to tie you and to blind you. Move past those things. You're not blinded and bounded. It's, you know, like in this Three of Wands card, this guy, like I said, like he's winking and he's holding onto a candy cane. He's holding onto one of the wands. It's this idea of he's chosen to bind himself to something specifically, and now he's winking because he's like, no, like I can choose to blind myself a bit in order to attach myself to this thing because this is what's going to give me power. And it's almost like using that energy against those in opposition that are using that energy that way. Be like, okay, if that's the game you want to play, then I'm going to show you how what you have bound yourself to is death and destruction, and that by not keeping both eyes open, you are limiting your eternal vision. You're limiting your true concepts of your true capacity for conceiving and visualizing your future and manifesting things properly. You're the one giving your power away. I'm not giving my power away to you. I'm not selling my soul to you. You're the one that has already sold their soul, and I'm not falling for your game. That is supported by the Six of Swords in the reverse. The Six of Swords in the upright I always see as like having, it's like what one has to do in order to sustain, in order to protect one's needs, interests, family, dependence, those types of things. It's moving out of murky, chaotic waters into smooth waters, but it's like having to make this quick trip and journey in order to do that, in order to protect these people. In the reverse, it's like, don't give your power away. Don't feel like, okay, well, now I have to be on the defense. You don't. This person doesn't actually have any power. This person themselves, this concept themselves, this boss, this career, this theology, this concept, this emotion, this person, whatever it is, like, they are the ones that have sold their soul. And more or less, they're just trying to make company of misery, your misery. They want you miserable so that they don't feel alone. Don't give that to them. It's okay for people to be alone. It's okay for people to have to be miserable on their own in order to go through their shit. Because if I'm miserable and I can get you to be miserable with me, now we're just commiserating. We're literally just sitting in misery together. That's not helping me get out of misery. It's just helping me feel more comfortable in it. This is why I learned on the street the importance of not just, I kept away from the other homeless people because most of them had been on the street for an extremely long time. And what I learned is, as I was watching them, was like, oh, once you find this community and bind yourself with other people who are not pushing to get out of this situation, you fall very comfortable into the situation. And the last thing I ever wanted was to be comfortable living on the street. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I think ultimately, in an ideal society, we wouldn't have so much. Like, half the people I clean for have way more than I think the average person could ever truly need. And as nice as it is in comparison, I really think that, like, if everybody could just have a reasonable home where they were, like, growing a fucking garden, that'd be great. That'd be top notch. That's all that I want. Do whatever else you want, but, like, that should be the ideal. Is that every single person on this planet can have a space where they can live. They can build the houses themselves, teach them how to build their home themselves, but they should have a place where they can live, where they aren't going to die from cold in the winter or heat in the summer, where they have water, preferably from a well, but where they have access to water, or even from collecting rainwater and being able to purify their own water. That'd be ideal. and then to be able to grow their own food. If they want to learn how to hunt, by all means, you know, like those types of things. If they want to have cows, if they want to have sheep, if they want to be able to provide for the community those ways, that's great. Chicken's great. Everything, all of it, everybody should have chickens. Everybody should have those types of things. That would be the ideal world, not where people are able to make hundreds and thousands of dollars a month so that they can buy this big glass house that they can have a nanny raise their baby in while they can have maids clean their house for them every week, because all that they do is just make money. And in order to have that make any sense and actually feel rich, they also have to be able to spend all of their free time just fucking off. And they have to be able to afford to do that. And that's why they have such a lavish lifestyle, is because it's all just built around them being able to fuck off on their times that they're not making money. I don't think that that's sustainable. I really don't. I really don't think it's ultimately sustainable, and I don't think it's really best. I don't think that people shouldn't have good things. I love the idea of people having good things, but I don't personally value good things by like, this cost me a hundred grand. It's like, I mean, I've literally been in that position, especially like shopping at Goodwill. Pretty much the only time I ever shop is at Goodwill. Aside from this last time when I bought clothing from Temu, from fucking essentially Amazon, right? From China, whatever. I can't recommend the website only because I don't exactly understand how it works and why everything's so cheap. I imagine that there's some bullshit going on, but I digress. Normally I would buy things from the thrift store, and I would recommend that for sure. Just because you're getting things that most people don't even have. You're putting to you, it's resourceful. It's recycling, essentially, right? You're also getting things way cheaper. And I've had things that I got at the thrift store that people that I know that have like tons of money were like very interested in. And I was like, yeah, I paid $7 for this thing. And they're like bothered by it. And they don't get it because they would have paid fucking $300 for that thing because it's the only one that you can get anymore. I had a sweater that my cousin had given me that had been handed down to her that was from the 70s. It's, for as much as I know, it's still at the house that my parents live in with all the rest of my things. But yeah, that sweater is from 1973, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And it's probably the only one in existence at this point. And it's really cool looking, and like I could wear it right now and people would compliment it. Like, it's a very, very cool sweater. You know, those types of things, like you can only get those things. That's what value is to me. Like that, like it isn't like you all bought your furniture off of Wayfair. Like that's not value. And that's like cheap rich people shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't think Cybertrucks are cool. Like, you don't know how to drive because all of your cars drive themselves? I don't think that's cool. My car is 30 fucking years old. Like, I don't know, man. I love my car. And if I had the money, I would fix my car up to be, perfect and just to keep running. I would love to keep that car. My boss looked at it and he's like, yeah, but it's got like rust all over it. And I was like, yeah, because it's fucking old. But like, it's still like a cool car. Like nobody has this car. It's a station wagon. Like, it doesn't get cooler than that, idiot. You think you're cool because you have a Cybertruck? I have a fucking station wagon. Fuck you. Difference of tastes. I don't mean to judge like that, but that's what we're talking about. That is kind of what we're talking about. You don't have to sell all your things, put your family in this tiny little boat, have nothing but protection available to you, and move forward having to fight through all of these tides in order to get into a space of security. When you're not buying into these illusions, when you're realizing that those that have bought into the illusions that are trying to sell them to you are themselves sold out, you can just walk away. You can literally just walk away. And like what I'm seeing is like, okay, so the other card that's out here, and we'll connect these cards. I'm going to have to do a second reading because my memory is about to be full. So we'll do a second reading to finish this up. But the card that is slightly disconnected right now, before we have the connecting card, is the Seven of Swords. And like, normally I see this as being greedy, but right now what I'm seeing it as is actually almost the opposite, which is you don't have to collect all of those defenses in order to, you already have enough. You already have enough. The defenses that you have on you, this dude's already carrying 5 swords. He's looking back at the 2, but it's like, oh, you know what? I'm good. I can keep walking. I'm good. I don't need all of these things. It's better to work with what you already have than to get a little too greedy to begin with, right? And so it's also kind of a warning about that, or just a bit of like, you know, you don't need to be greedy. You already have everything that you need. It's really about teaching yourself to cultivate that concept so that you can really make the most of the things that you have, with a sense of appreciation, rather than being like, oh, well, this isn't enough. I need this much more, and then becoming greedy and then calling some bad karma in on yourself because you weren't willing to just appreciate what you had and make the most of it. That's where true strength comes from. You can't buy it. You're not going to be able to go find it somewhere else. Somebody else isn't going to be able to do that work for you. Doesn't matter how much money you have, what kind of status you have, how many people you have below you. Nobody else can give you that. You do have to do some work for yourself. Right? And again, that comes all back to the rationality. Head rationality. Like, it comes from within you. Nobody else can rationalize for you. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. Somebody could literally break down the most complex concepts into the most simplistic resolution that even a 5-year-old could understand. But if you aren't given to understanding, it doesn't matter if a 5-year-old could understand it, you won't. Because it's about being willing to receive these things. Nobody can do that for you. Only you can do that for you. Okay, so this is about to be over. I'm going to upload this and then I'll get back and we'll flip these cards. I might look different. I might look the same. I might look worse. I don't know. We'll get back to this though. Thanks for watching. Prepare for number 2 when this all becomes something of value. Hopefully this has already served you, but please stay tuned for part 2 and watch that along with this. I get it. I'm sorry. Just let me say this quickly because I'm aware that this has already been an hour and 13 minutes. So like that's asking a lot, because how the fuck are you going to sit here and listen to me for over an hour to begin with? So take your time, but this was all just marking things out according to that mathematics and that sacred geometry. And now we're going to actually break down that Fibonacci sequence and show how it can be integrated into one's own rationality, how it can actually be applied into our consistent, constant concepts and ways, like our actions, like our ways of being, how we can not identify ourselves by it or a value by it, but how we can identify it in order to use it as a tool, consistent tool for our betterment. So it's worth it to watch the second video is pretty much what I'm getting at. I know that already. We haven't even gotten into it yet. I'm not going to touch these cards. I'm not going to mess with them. I'll show you exactly how they are right now. Okay, this is how they are, and this is how they're going to stay. Do you see them all? Sorry, my table is a mess, but this is how they're going to stay. I'm just going to upload this, and then I will do the second video. All right, thanks, and I will see you shortly. Okay. Maybe I'll take a shower in the meantime. I don't know. I'm probably going to go take a shower, and then I'll come back. So I'll probably look a little different when we come back, but this is within the same time This is all within the same time period. I'm not even going to look at these cards and read them until we get to that point. It's important for me for these things to be genuine and to just come up as they come up and to not like pre-plan for them. So that's why I'm stating that. All right. Thank you very much. I will see you soon.